Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with
Corey,
KJ,
and Mike.
We are filming a little bit out of order here, but we're going to be talking about Supernatural so that we don't have to do that in a couple weeks as we all have plans. So, we're talking about Supernatural, and then we'll also be talking a little bit about the Winchesters, which is the spin-off prequel, the only spin-off series that the Supernatural was able to actually come to fruition, which is weird because it's a 15-season show. Usually a lot of shows that go that long end up having spin-offs. They usually get canceled after the first season, but they try. And this one had many attempts, but this is the first one that's actually come to fruition. But before we get into the Winchesters, let's first talk about Supernatural, and let's talk about, did you guys first watch this show when it was first on TV? God, what was this now, 17 years ago? When it was first out, or is it something that later down the line you guys are like, okay, I should watch this show, I'm hearing good things about it?
I think I watched it like after it had been out for like the first couple seasons, because I remember binge watching the crap out of it. I think I watched like the first 3 seasons like all at once. Okay. So it had to have been out for a couple years already.
Yep.
I remember watching the first episode, like when it piloted, like
so
when
do
it
I.
previewed. Yeah.
The Lady in White.
I basically heard, and I was like reading about it. Or hearing about it, I guess maybe. Probably wasn't reading about it back then. But hearing that about the preview, and it's like 2 brothers drive around in a classic car listening to 80s rock and shooting demons. I was like, yep, well, let's do it.
That's all it took for you to
tag that one.
Love 80s music. Love shooting demons. Like, let's do it.
Classic car.
Yeah, I'm not a car guy. But I do love the Impala.
Impala, it's a nice.
I also love the Impala because of this show.
Right,
that's what set the Impala off for me, and then also their love for the car.
It is a cool looking car, though.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
a classic.
It's now, I feel like, more iconic because of this show. Everybody's going to see an Impala and just think Supernatural.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at least that make and model of it.
It's weird to me though, because it's often like called a piece of junk by not people. Like
by not people,
well,
like
no,
machines.
Not like not Sam and Dean obviously, but like other people they run across in the series will be like driving around in a piece of junk or something, and it's like that's not a junky car.
Well, it might be a junky car compared
like
to
grand.
like the newer stuff, but one of the reasons that they held on to that car till the end of the show was because the attachment with their dad. Well, yeah, basically. This show is all about daddy issues.
I mean, Sam easily could have just become a stripper instead of a...
I mean, he was in college to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
Episode
Gotta pay
1.
for that degree.
Yeah. As this show progressed, was there, like, especially the first season, because this is one of those shows, too. We talked about it a couple weeks back where we talked about a lot of shows now only having like 8, 10, 12 episodes. Miss Marvel, which we talked about a couple weeks ago when this comes out, only had 6 episodes. Moon Knight only had 6 or 7. This is a show that every season, without fail, minus I think the writer's strike, 22 episodes, 23 episodes, which is a lot of content. Obviously, there's some filler in there. But did you ever get to a point while watching this show where you were like, okay, they're doing too much, I don't care? Or was it, I'm along for the ride all 15 years?
Well, I wasn't going to stop watching by the time I was committed to season like 8. But yeah, there's certainly seasons that were less interesting to me.
Supernatural is one of those shows where like you can pick and choose certain episodes that continue the story, and then there's episodes that don't do anything.
Yeah.
They're just filler.
So I feel like almost every episode, except for a few, there's probably a couple that have nothing, but all of them have something to do to set up the finale, but literally some of them are one line of dialogue. That is it, where I agree with you. You could skip it, and it doesn't really need to be
There's like
there.
a certain thing online that like some guy has gone through and like picked out all the episodes that you need to watch from Supernatural. Yep. That actually go through the storyline. Like that's how many episodes there are.
Oh, there's 327,
right.
Which is a lot. Like most shows are super happy to get 50, let alone 100. The 100 club for a TV show, because back then that was like 4.5 seasons or so, is huge. Like isn't huge. It's super small, the amount of shows that have this. And this has 3 times and then some that, which is a crazy amount of episodes for this many seasons. But what about you, Mike? I know what you said, that there are some episodes that you can skip and choose from, but did you ever get to a point watching it where you were just like, this is too much, or because of all this filler, I don't care?
I watched it in like binges. Like I'd watch it for like a couple seasons, and then I wouldn't watch it for like a long time, and then I'd pick up where I left off and continue to watch more.
Yeah, I did that quite a bit, especially like once we got to season 11, I would like lose track and then go back and watch 2 seasons at once.
Yeah, like I wasn't committed to watching them like when they came out every single time, but I've watched all the episodes.
Yep.
And I like it. Like I really like the show. It's just it's so much that it's not something that I'm like, oh, this is when this episode comes out, I'm gonna watch it. It's like, okay, well, I've seen Sam and Dean 289 times now.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just, if I get the chance and I have a couple hours, I'll watch a couple episodes of it.
It also got to the point where it was like they die so much. And
dude, they do an episode literally making fun of that.
I understand that, but my point is, like, when it gets to the point where Dean has to be like, Sammy, don't bring me back if I die this time. It's like, okay, maybe...
I feel like they said that like season 3.
I'm just saying, it's like, maybe we've gotten to a point where you kill off the characters and there's no stakes anymore.
Right.
Which...
They eventually do explain that, though, which we'll get into.
God doesn't want them dead.
Yeah, it's his story. So I thought that was an interesting way.
It's a bad story.
I disagree. Or maybe it's a bad story, but I didn't think it was a bad explanation. It made sense of why all this happened, which then made the lackluster series finale kind of make a little bit more sense because nobody's writing their story anymore.
That was might be my least favorite season, was the last season.
Well, it's hard to get to that. We'll get to the series finale in a minute, or the last few seasons. For me, I think I watched every week when the show was on or TiVo'd it for the first 10 seasons. After that, that's when I think they struck up a deal with Netflix where the week after the series finale aired...
Well, for all CW shows.
Yes, but Supernatural was the only one I really cared about.
Yeah.
Where it would come out the week after, and then I'd binge watch it.
Yeah,
but for the first 10 years, I just watched it religiously. And then after that, I just waited because I knew I'd binge it. And also, I wasn't that worried about it. Mostly because by season 10... as you said, I've already seen Sam and Dean 280 something times. Like, I'll keep watching it, but I don't need to be every Thursday at 9:00 watching.
It was a good change of pace, because I feel like Smallville got me, like, was my first CW show I feel like I really got into. And then when Supernatural came out, it was pretty different, but like it still was kind of in that sci-fi fantasy.
It's funny that you mentioned Smallville, because one of the reasons I asked the question about did you guys lose track at any point is that Smallville, for me, season 4, I think, I stopped watching for 3 seasons because I just didn't care. And then I think they brought in Oliver Queen, and it brought like the show back to life, and I started watching it and loving it. So I was wondering if there was something like that with you guys for Supernatural, where you kind of fell out of it for a few seasons, and then because something happened during the show's run where you're like, oh, I gotta go watch this.
For me, I don't think it's so much there was a specific moment. It's just I could tell you like season 1 through 6. Like season 5 is supposed to have ended, then they continued it. Season 6 I think is Leviathan. Or no, maybe the one after?
No, Leviathan isn't until season 7 or 8. Season 6 is when Sam comes back without a soul.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So that was interesting. Season 7 was interesting, if that was Leviathan or whatever. And then after that, I really can't remember, like, what the big bad was in seasons, like, 8 through the last season.
Yep.
And so, like, that's more, I think, describes how I felt about Supernatural post-season 6, 7, was just that it was kind of forgettable, but I still enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. Right. For me, this show season was only supposed to be 3 seasons. They had it written out for 3 seasons. That's all it was supposed to be. At least that's Eric Kripke's vision. Then, because it was doing so well, they asked him to do more, and he extended it out to 5 seasons, introduced angels, and had this almost perfect story for 5 seasons. Still some filler in there, but you got to probably have some filler for 22 episodes a season. But it was still a perfect story, especially the season 5 ending, everything culminating with that car, the Impala, everything the kids went through, having the fight with Michael and the devil, Lucifer. Yep, was fantastic. And then once they continued on after that, I wanted them to continue because I love the show, but looking in hindsight, if they just would have ended there, it would be one of my favorite top 5 shows of all time. Just because it holds up more than...
I feel like it still is.
Top 5? It's definitely not in my top 5.
I mean,
No, not even... It's now. It's probably in the top 20. Absolutely in the top 20 of all shows of all time that I like. But if you have this clear, concise story that's just perfect from beginning to end, it's great. If you just keep that going for the sake of keeping it going and money, it's going to hinder it a little bit. Think of having like the perfect book that's 1,000 pages and 200 pages in. You're like, God, if it just ended here, it's perfect. And the next 800 pages are just filler. Does that make the first 200 pages less great? Yeah, of course it does. So it's the same thing with this. As you just said, you can't even remember the endings of these other seasons or who the big bad was. So for me, that takes away from it, but I still enjoyed the show. In hindsight, I just wish it ended that. We'd miss out on some great things. The show was super meta before a lot of things were meta. They had the episode where they go into our real world and they make jokes because both of them married cast members. One of them married Ruby from season...
Well, and I just read, I didn't realize, but when they're looking up who Jensen Ackles is and they see he was in a soap opera, Jensen Ackles didn't know they were going to be putting that on the screen. Like, that was Jared Padalecki and...
as a joke?
Yeah, as a joke they
that.
Put that, and he reacted to it, and they kept it in the show.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I love that they included...
I think he says something like, we got to get out of here. I don't like this.
But they included the thing where... Because there was a time, like a couple seasons, where they weren't, like, at the best terms, both Jason and Jared.
Yeah, you said that, and I've never read anything to
Yeah, there was
suggest
tons
that.
of stuff about them thinking, or at least articles stating, that they were thinking about ending the show. They didn't want to work together. It was very heated on set. And then I think it was the next season or the season after that where this meta episode came out. And that's why there's this big joke in there. Like, you've never been at our house. Like, What are you doing? And all this other stuff. So I loved that they did that type of stuff with it. I loved that they had... partly because of how many episodes they had, they were able to do weird stuff. They've done a black and white episode. They did a Scooby-Doo episode.
The Scooby-Doo episode was my favorite.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They did the episode where it's Groundhog's Day, where Sam keeps dying over and over, or Dean does, one of them.
Yeah, Dean.
Constantly. And then they just have so much. They have the episode where they're in...
It's like The Simpsons. Like, they just do everything.
Yeah, and
Simpsons did it.
Yeah, Simpsons did it.
With it being supernatural-esque, they're able to explain it away, but they do so much stuff that other shows can't get away with, and because they have this longevity.
They do the sitcom with, like, the audience laugh comes over the thing, but they're still talking about, like, the demons are going to kill us.
But is that the episode where they have the demon Gabriel?
Yeah, well, it's not a
the
demon.
The angel, Gabriel, who's a trickster at this point still.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know he's
going by the
angel.
name Loki. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing that thing. Yeah, he's introduced super early on, too, before you know he's an actual angel. He's like in like season 3, I think, or maybe 4.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. So with this show spanning 15 years, 2005 to 2020, I think it was... What were you guys, I guess, before we get into the series finale, what were you guys hoping for the culmination to be? Because that's a lot of time that we put into the show of watching it, let alone the time that they put into making it. So, Mike, what were you hoping for a season finale would bring for us? Or what culmination were you hoping for?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think if they would have ended it at season 5, they probably would have been a perfect ending. It's just they do so much. It's really hard to say what a perfect ending would have been. Like you said, season 5, like the devil versus archangel.
Yep. With them taking the bodies of it,
right.
The car coming into play, that little army man being stuck in the ashtray for so long, and then that coming into play as like a reminder of who he is, and him just standing up to his brother who's possessed by the either Lucifer or the archangel, and getting the crap kicked out of him. It's so good. It's perfect.
Right.
But so thinking of that though, fast forward 10 years and they're still going, knowing they can't touch that ending because they already ruined it by keep going. Is there something that you wanted to see as the end?
Not really.
No?
Like I said, I mean, after like season 7 or 8. I just kind of watched it sporadically. I honestly I don't remember the last. Like, I think I watched like the end as it came, not as it came out, but like when it came out. And
Yep.
I didn't really have an issue with the idea that Jack is going to become the new god or whatever. My issue was everything that happened. Like, it wasn't great, but everything that happened after it was atrocious. Like, Dean going to heaven and then seeing this awful, like, montage of Sam's life, which was just awful and looked stupid.
So I will say part of that is COVID.
It looked like an
related.
SNL skit. Like, he was...
Part of it is COVID related because they had to film it.
Doesn't
Like,
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say
not-
you could tell that they were filming it from like separate locations.
yeah, and
was
then there
bad.
was also the part when they're in that bar at the very end when they're both in heaven.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be full of so many cast members from the original, like for all 15 years. It was supposed to have the mom, the dad, even instead of just mentioning them, saying that they're just up in the cabin there. It was supposed to be filled basically to the rafters until COVID.
Yeah.
So that
Couldn't they
probably
have
would have
just,
been a little
like-
bit cooler.
Could they just like split screen to that kind of thing? Like put a character in there, filmed it, and then like
Done another one,
yeah,
done another
like,
one.
on
Heaven
top
is
of
a
Part
Zoom
of it-
call. It's just like...
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
That would have been really
And then have
funny.
Lucifer, like, drop in, like, hey
guys.
But no,
you just got punked.
part of the issue wasn't only it was getting them to the location. Nobody was flying then because of COVID. So even getting them to the
Well,
studio was
also,
kind of
they shot
impossible.
in Vancouver, so
Yeah.
literally you couldn't
And
cross the
they
border.
closed the border.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Dean's death. I hated his death scene until I think recently, when I actually started thinking more
'Cause you
about
were
it.
justifying it. It is bad.
I wasn't justifying it.
Eh.
It just made sense of
that now he's not protected by God, so
Correct.
he could die by a
but
regular
when
thing.
I'm watching it, I was just like, this like, let it be at least a big villain that kills him. But then if you actually look at the story, they should have died hundreds, if not thousands of times. And the only reason they didn't, you can eye roll if you want, the only reason that they didn't die was because God was writing the story. That God's gone now. Poof, gone.
Yeah, but
So-
it doesn't take away all of their abilities and
I don't think they
skills.
had many abilities to begin with. They had experience.
Well, I want to see the whole series without God's protection then, and watch them just fumble everything and die.
How many times do they get hurt throughout this? Even season 1. Think of season 1. How many times do they get hurt and not die?
No, they die all the time. The problem is they
not in
come
season-
back.
Right, but even before that, if they get like this wound, you probably would end up dying, but they don't because of God. So
Yeah.
in this, there's no God
It
saving
was
them,
still
so he
just
gets
the
shoved
weakest
back
way.
on like
I
a
understand.
nail.
I feel like it doesn't explain why Dean is in hell for 60 years, though.
So, what do you mean? That God let him stay there?
Yeah.
So, at this point, I think God is...
Like, I understand that he keeps continuing to bring them back because
Yep.
of his story, but, like, Dean, like, says it's, like, the worst thing that's ever happened to it. It changed his life, and he's like, well, you know, I may have only been gone a year. For me, it was a lifetime.
Right, yeah.
Like, he had to torture people for a lifetime?
Yep.
And God's okay with that.
Yeah, it's set up
Well,
a better story.
this isn't like a nice God by the end
Yeah,
of it.
well,
Like,
yeah, no,
I
I mean,
understand that.
It
even
was
in the beginning of it, he wasn't
It was
nice.
interesting for his story, so like that doesn't really bother me as much as like I just can't. I understand the justification for how he dies so easily at the end, but it's still just a lame way for him to die after everything we've seen him go through. I'd rather just see him like take a bullet for Sam.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Like
or
that fits his character.
Yep.
And it fits that they're not going to get a second chance this time, and it would be a thing that he would have died to before.
Technically,
too.
he did save his brother. That's one of the reasons why he died.
How?
When he was fighting the demons or the vampires, whatever they were.
Well,
in
it was
this.
a week. It was. Let's put it this way: it wasn't noticeable enough for me to remember that. So
Yeah, he just stepped in. Like, I think he stepped in, hit the demon, and then the other guy grabbed him. When he could have been fighting this other guy, he went and hit the other demon. Then this other demon grabbed him and shoved him back, and he got impaled
by
and-
like a little tiny freaking nail.
I mean, it was bigger than that.
died
But
of
that's what it
tetanus.
felt like.
Dean
Tetanus.
Winchester
But
killed
then-
God, died of
But in
tetanus.
any other episode, he would have just walked away fine.
Only he had been vaccinated. Stupid anti-vaxxer. I didn't realize it was a political commentary.
But no, it just was one of those things where I understand it, but I agree that it shouldn't have been that way. The more I thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, it makes sense, but I still would have liked, let's say halfway through the last season.
I do it too all the time, but
let's say halfway through the final season is when they kill God. But then there's still some big bad out there, and they have a culmination battle with him, and then he dies. I'd be more okay with that, because then again, you don't have God writing his story. He goes out like more of a superstar / champ, rather than going out a little bit like a bitch, which makes it seem like if God wasn't writing this story, season 1, he would have died, if not before that.
I also they kill God, and I understand he's supposed to be bad, but it just, I don't know. It's like just saying that, and like if you knew nothing about the series,
it sounds very blasphemous.
It's not even that. What I mean is, it's literally sounds
impossible.
like this show got to the most ridiculous level that's the only thing they could do that would one up everything they've done previously.
I mean, that's almost exactly right. Although they've been setting up killing God for like 5 seasons.
But to me, that just shows how short-sighted they were as they continue. Like they after season 5, I don't think they ever gave a thought to how do we end this series. They were just like, let's keep rolling.
They had no idea how they were going to end the series.
Which is kind of
They
a
were
problem.
planning 1 or 2 seasons at a time, but always knowing they were kind of going to get picked up.
Yeah.
Which
season 16, they killed the universe.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
I figured they'd be going after Jack in season 16. Like, something would happen, he'd get corrupted by something. They did so much in this show that I agree with you. They had no plan for an ending after they were like, hey, do you guys want more money and want to keep going? And they were like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
They didn't really make that much.
I mean, for 15 years...
I know, I'm just saying, compared to like other shows, they were getting paid.
Well, they're on the CW.
Minuscule. But yeah, I get it.
Not to mention the amount of money that they were and still are for syndication.
Well,
yeah,
they're probably getting money on like, I mean, I'm sure all the seasons are selling like DVDs and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
The money for the DVD sales is nothing compared to syndication. Syndication, where it's on like TNT.
Oh yeah.
When it's on TBS, when it's on all these other ones, that's where they make their money. And now that it's on like Netflix and other things, as long as they negotiated their contract right, they're getting money for that. Like Friends TV, the Friends cast is still getting paid like $1 million a year minimum to have their show on streaming.
I'm just glad that like their character, like their actors are able to like move forward, because sometimes like, especially after like long seasons like that, it's hard for actors to like
you get
something else. Yeah, like you.
But is it
Jensen Ackles the one that plays Dean?
Yeah.
So we just saw him on The Boys.
But part of that is that's Eric Kripke again. Like it's not. That's the same guy who did Supernatural. So that's why he brought him in. He also brought in Bobby Singer.
As Bobby Singer.
I know.
Oh, I don't understand that.
It was just. It's a nod to his other show. That's all it is.
Well, and Bobby Singer is
his name is Robert Singer.
Yeah,
it's the name of a producer.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought his name. I thought it was actually Robert Singer.
No, not the actual
actor.
actors.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Just an homage to that producer and also to that character on Supernatural. But it's Eric Kripke. Now, Jared went on to do Jared, right?
Padalecki.
Yeah.
Is doing Walker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's gonna do after that if Walker continues. But both of them, more so Jared than Jensen, are dealing with the prequel, the Winchesters TV show. Like one of them is like
Jared's not involved, which was like a big contention.
It was a little bit, but then they talked about it. Now I think he might be involved, but just on the back end of it.
But I guess Jensen went and started developing that without talking to him.
Yeah,
so.
they didn't. He had no idea about it, that was even in the works, and figured that if it was going to be done, it would be with him as well.
Yeah.
Well, you have Jensen also doing like the voice of Batman too.
Yes. Yeah,
he does other things. I guess what my point was is like a lot of like people like look at the guy who played Harry Potter. Like, granted, he's in other movies, but like nobody cares.
Well, he's starting to get back into things and doing
Guns
more.
Akimbo.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but he's been doing stuff. But you look at someone like who played his best friend Ron.
Right.
What has he done?
Nothing.
Not exactly.
Right. Or most of those actors.
Yeah, except for Hermione, who stopped her own self because she wanted to get more political.
Look at the guy who played Snape. He hasn't done anything since.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did a lot of stuff, and then he died.
He has not been in a movie since.
I agree with you that I think that they have the ability to do more, but they also tried before the show ended, and everything flopped. One of them was in My Bloody Valentine 3D, which was awful. The other one was in
How dare you?
The new Friday movie with Jason Voorhees. That
Jensen
was awful.
Ackles is in that new movie Rust, the one with Alec Baldwin where the person died.
So
with a
meaning
gun.
that it's never going to come out?
It will come out.
I don't know.
They'll just do some like tribute at the beginning.
Yeah,
of it or
I don't know. They halted production. I don't know if they've picked it back up since then or not.
Well, we'll see. But
Who's you guys' besides the brothers? Who's your guys' favorite character? I guess I'll say I don't want to say main character because there's really only like 6
Who's
main
yours?
characters. So it depends what we're talking about. As a guest starring role, Lucifer to me is by far the best character that they have. The actor that portrays him is phenomenal.
I agree with that. I really
Mark
like Bobby
Pellegrino.
Singer.
Is that his name?
yeah,
Dude, he's so good, and he was in Lost. And yeah, I loved him as Lucifer. I thought he played it fantastic from the first moment you see him as just playing the regular person, while Lucifer's trying to corrupt him. He's great, but then as soon as he gets corrupted and says yes to Lucifer, he's phenomenal through the whole thing. When they lock him in the cage, when he gets out of the cage, when they go to the alternate universe reality place, he's so good.
He
the problem
plays a
with
good
this
bad
show
guy.
is that they
Phenomenal.
They
bad
beat
guy.
good performances into the ground till they're not good anymore. So like he started out season 5 amazing. You know when we first see him amazing, but by the end of the series, they've taken him like they've just
You think
punished
watered him down?
Yeah, they watered him down. Same thing with Crowley. Crowley was awesome at first.
But Crowley changed. Lucifer didn't. Crowley was supposed to be watered down because he was becoming, for a demon, more attached to the boys,
Yeah,
Sam
I get
and
it.
Dean. So his character had all that development. He had the bromance with Dean. So I actually liked his character a lot, too. He's up there for me. Obviously, Castiel is there because, of course, he is.
Yeah.
Because he's fantastic.
Another character
Jack, I
that got
didn't
watered down.
really care about. Yeah, Castiel, but again, that's because of the boys, of them. Like, you can't be that same character you were in season 4 that ripped Dean from hell.
I disagree only in the sense that these boys, they've known for 4 years and they've lived for millennia.
4 years.
Okay, 15 years.
Yeah.
Pick a number, but they've been alive for millennia.
Yeah, but they haven't had any
they haven't
interaction
met
with
anyone
humans.
like Dean and Sam.
They haven't had interaction with humans. They stay up in the clouds.
Well,
in
Lucifer,
heaven. Lucifer was down. He had experience with them mostly as after they're dead, not really up on Earth. And I
Yeah.
didn't think Lucifer got watered down, in my opinion. He was always conniving, always looking for the next thing, and always playing this sadistic guy. Like, I didn't think he was too watered down. I agree with you that if we would have saw him a little bit less, it would have made his performances better.
Yeah.
But I never thought it was necessarily watered down. Unlike Crowley, who was, but there was a reason behind it. Unlike Castiel, but there was a reason behind it. But yeah, for me, my favorite one
don't
is
know
Lucifer.
that those characters haven't had interactions with humans before.
yeah.
Like, I mean, if they've been around for millennia, like, Castiel might have been, like, very black and white, and then met some Greek person, and then changed a little bit.
It's possible, however, they say in season 4 that it's against the rules to do all the stuff that he's doing. Like, that's why they start going after Castiel. I don't remember that name of the guy that's kind of bald.
Zachariah.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly who it is. You pulled that out.
Yeah.
He
He's looking at a cast list right now.
No, I'm really not.
if he was, it's impressive either way. So Zachariah literally is against it, yells at him for doing it. You're not supposed to do this, against the rules, blah, blah, blah. So not necessarily saying that they couldn't have done it, but they imply in the show that they haven't. So this feels like their first interaction with them, which does corrupt them or at least make them more humanized or understand our point of view.
Yeah, I still it always struck me as odd how much the characters changed.
Yeah.
Considering they've been alive millennia. Like, it should be much more gradual. I mean, for us to change in that amount of time span, sure. But it'd be like if you met somebody and in a week, your whole personality changed.
People do that.
Well,
you also got to think, like, if all you've known for a millennia is X, and then
you
you're
see Y.
jammed into Y,
Yep.
it's going to change you pretty quickly.
Yep.
Like, for instance, if you went to prison tomorrow,
Yeah,
you're
it's
going
gonna-
to change.
He's gonna love it.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like
Same
Earth
shit,
is prison,
different
but yeah, but I mean something like very, very drastic
Right.
from what you know.
Yeah,
I
you're
understand what
absolutely
you're
right.
saying.
Culture shock.
Right.
That the whole thing, absolutely. It's almost a perfect analogy for it, because that just would literally take us out of our complete comfort zone of where you were and where Castiel was in heaven or whatever to something completely different.
I also
and
don't
unknown.
buy that they didn't have exposure to humans, especially Lucifer.
I'm sure they had limited exposure.
Lucifer did when they were
And Crowley
down.
definitely did.
Crowley absolutely did. 100%.
Yeah, so explain that one.
So that was more or less the fact that he just kept coming up against these boys, and the more he fought them, the more he liked and respected them, and then he changed his views of, I guess I don't necessarily want to kill them all the time, and then I can use them to help me get what I want, which is become the king of hell, and then he just, like I said, he had like a budding bromance with both boys, but mostly Dean.
Yeah.
They even have that episode where they're basically buddy cops.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious, and you got to see a lot of their own character development. It doesn't feel so out of left field because you literally get to see it happen. Now, if you look at it from the outside and you go, hey, from this day to this day, you changed quite a bit, but you kind of get to see it slowly happen. Look at Castiel of how he talks in the first few episodes.
I will always like season 5 and Dean rolls up and Castiel's with him and he says, "Hey, ass butt."
Yep.
And then he gets
That's the
blown
first
up.
ass butt,
Yeah.
yeah,
Great.
that's a good one. So what did you guys end up?
I mean, Lucifer, yeah, he's
Is
great.
it Lucifer for you?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of really cool characters that I liked that were really short-lived. If you're talking about somebody who had a reoccurring role,
I mean, you got Bobby, you got...
I loved Bobby
yeah,
Singer.
Bobby was great.
Bobby was
Idiots.
Idiots was
Yeah.
good. Also, Garth was good.
Well, yeah, but see, like, I didn't know Garth wasn't really reoccurring enough. Like, if you're talking about Lucifer is in a lot more than Garth is. So
Sure, but not by actually that much.
yeah, like
Like-
Rowena has probably been in a lot, but
Especially towards the
definitely
end,
not one of
absolutely.
my favorites. Crowley, like, I would love to say Crowley was one of my favorites, but again,
You thought
by
he got
the end of
watered
it,
down.
I just like his character sucked in
Yeah.
my opinion. Like he started off so good, even in the middle was great, and then near the end it was just like, all right, I don't care anymore. By the end of it, I missed Crowley, the Crossroads Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was such a good... Okay, so you have to correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to remember back.
You're wrong.
All right, good to know. Moving on.
Now get it corrected.
So season 3 is the season Dean dies because he gets dragged to hell by the dogs that nobody can see unless you're marked for
Hellhounds.
death. Yeah, the Hellhound. Thank you. Isn't that Crowley? Isn't that Crowley that ends up killing him because of his hounds?
I don't think you're saying that because he always says they're his hounds.
Well, no, I thought somebody that he made a deal,
Yeah.
and so then he was gonna die. Like that was the arrangement. Wasn't the deal with Crowley? I don't remember. That's why I'm asking.
There's like a girl Crossroads
Yeah.
Demon.
There is, but I
don't
thought that
think
was
so.
later.
I think he makes a deal with the girl.
I thought she was later after Crowley either died or becomes the king of hell.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
To be fair, there are a lot of Crossroads Demons. He was just supposed to be the king of the Crossroads Demons.
Yeah. Or the manager of them.
Whatever.
Management.
Yeah.
I need to talk to your manager. Could you imagine telling that to a Crossroad Demon?
Yeah.
Go full Karen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's your
I was
name?
gonna say, I
I'm
feel
Karen.
like there's some Karens out there that would have the
Yeah.
balls to do that.
What did you guys think about their dad, the actor that played him, his
Jeffrey Dean
story?
Morgan?
Yes.
I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's great.
Yeah, I think I liked him better in this than most things.
I liked him as Negan.
Yeah,
in
I was gonna
Walking
say, he
Dead
plays
at
Negan.
first.
At first, and then they went in the whole other direction, tried to save him, and then you
Well,
want to
to
care
be
about
fair,
him.
I think that's what's in the comics. So
Ugh.
they're probably just doing what's
Still
what they
bad.
got.
You hate redemption, don't you?
No, I'm fine with redemption, but not when you literally
no one's
murder
redeemable.
like 6 main characters in front of the other main characters. Maybe you don't get redeemed for that.
Look, it's
Well, I don't like. He doesn't really like. If you
What?
if you watch Walking Dead, he's never really forgiven for that.
The fact that he's still alive at all.
Well, that's more of a we don't want to be. It's the same thing. Like, are you pro death penalty?
If somebody murdered somebody in front of me, even if I wasn't going to murder them, I wouldn't be still hanging out with them.
Sure, and they don't. They keep him in a jail cell so he can't go.
He gets out, and then they end up working together. Both him and Maggie work together,
They do eventually, yeah. But she
A few times.
She wants to kill him like multiple times,
but
and
doesn't.
Yeah,
When he killed her
mostly because
lover,
other people stop her from doing it.
It doesn't matter. It wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
It
Literally,
doesn't
he
matter
beat-
if someone.
You heard it
Beat
here.
them both
KJ
with a
is
bat.
pro death penalty.
For Negan, sure.
Just for Negan.
Just-
One for one.
Yeah.
But I loved Negan, and that episode where he murders them is fantastic. He's a great villain, and then
Yeah.
it seems to be watered down.
Well, it's a Game of Thrones moment where like, oh crap, there's actual consequences for real main characters.
Yeah.
I still hate that they killed Glenn, but
I thought it was perfect that they killed
favorite
Glenn,
character.
but I hated that they killed Glenn because, again, yeah, I liked his character, but if you're gonna kill
just
a
kill
character,
that
that's...
ginger guy they killed. Nobody cared.
Dude, he went down like a champ, though.
He did, yeah.
He did go down like a champ. Like, I thought they made him go out like...
I like
very
Daryl
well.
too, but frig Daryl because he's the reason Glenn died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to that Supernatural. So you like the dad, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. What about you? Did you like the dad in the show?
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't feel like there's a lot of interactions with him. I mean, there is
Yeah.
a little bit,
The
but
Could've
first
used
two
more.
seasons have a decent amount.
Well, it's really short
He has-
scenes though.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
like one episode where you see him for the whole episode.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's like 6 episodes in the first season where there's like he's in 1 or 2 scenes, but usually not with the boys.
Yeah.
They have more interactions with like the girl
The mom.
Faye, not Faye. Who's the actress that's like known for doing a bunch of nerdy shit?
Oh, Felicia Day.
Yeah, Felicia Day.
Is that the
like
red-haired girl?
Yeah.
Red hair, Charlie. I think.
Charlie.
Charlie?
Oh, I
yeah.
love
There's
Charlie.
more
She's
interactions
great.
with her than there is with the
I
dad.
must
Well,
have taken
yeah,
my
but she
vitamins
becomes
today
like
because
a
I'm
main
remembering
character.
names.
Yeah, you're very, like,
I'm usually the one who
I
forgets.
feel so sick. I'm so tired. Oh, this character's name is this. This character's name is this.
It just shows that even on my worst day, I'm better than you.
Oh, God. Listen to you.
I feel like you Google a lot of shit more than we do.
What am I googling?
I need to know who that actress
You
is
Googled
right
before
now.
you got here. We know how
I got
you
that
are.
Google implant in my brain that I just think of it and it goes.
I also, who was it? The people that die in the end of season 2 to the Hellhounds, I think? Or no, season 2 ends with, I think that might be season 3, right before Dean dies, but season 2 ends with them killing the yellow-eyed demon.
So just what you're saying right now, just elaborates how long this show
Yeah,
so
you
is.
can't
long.
remember.
That you can't even remember what happens in the seasons.
I'll give you
it's
a
like trying to
dollar right
remember.
now
It's
if you
Ellen
can-
and Joe.
Tell me what happens in season 9. I'll give you $1.
Season 9
You're
is...
just gonna take a wild guess.
The one where... I think season 9 is the one where... not Crowley. Castiel tries to take in all the souls from the... What's that? The limbo place, whatever it's called. Purgatory. I think that's season 9.
So that's
Is that when he
Leviathan?
tries to be God?
No, that's the one after the Leviathan. Like, the Leviathan come from there, but that when he's trying to take all the souls in for himself, I think it's that season.
Or the Leviathans come when he explodes.
Right, so that's the following season. He explodes after.
So you're saying season 9 is when he gets the souls. Season 10 is
Yeah,
Leviathan?
yes, I said it backwards.
I thought earlier you said Leviathan was 7 or 8.
Leviathan happens, obviously. See, there's too many
I was
seasons.
going to say, you have no confidence in your answer
I
to me,
know.
so
There's
you're
so
wrong.
many seasons.
Yeah.
And again, after season, like, I could tell you all 5 seasons, like, how they end. Season 1 ends with the car wreck, with the 2 boys and their dad. Season 2 ends with them killing the yellow-eyed demon, finally. Season 3 ends with Dean getting dragged to hell. Season 4, I'm going to draw a blank. And then season 5 is the
Season
perfect
9
ending.
follows Dean and Sam as they try to stop a revived Abaddon.
Yeah, that's
Night of Hell.
That's Leviathan.
That's not the Leviathan.
Isn't that the name?
No, Abaddon's the prince.
They have to
like
use
the
the first
demon,
blade.
What is she called? She's one of the princes of hell, but she's a princess, I guess.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Metatron closes off heaven and causes angels to fall.
Oh, the angels fall.
and Castiel
Yeah.
will stop at nothing to stop him.
Yeah.
Failure.
Abaddon is one of like Lucifer's first lieutenants that tries to take over hell.
Was there a
and
name
Crowley
for the
doesn't like it.
Leviathan thing? Besides
The
Leviathan?
head Leviathan was
Abaddon is the last remaining knight of hell.
Knight of Hell,
Knight of
not
Hell.
Prince. Yeah. The head Leviathan was, I mean, there was his like human name. I don't know what his actual.
No.
I don't think they had names because Leviathan, we are many is like the thing. It's basically supposed to be Legion, like I am Legion.
Oh, yeah, I guess. But yes, a lot of seasons. I don't remember season 4 now. Now it's going to bug me. Season 3, season 4 is her, the Ruby. Because she's the one that corrupts Sam all season in season 4. And then they eventually open that gateway to break the last seal to let the Lucifer out. That's
Right.
season 4.
Yep.
And then God ends up transporting them into a plane, flying away. So there we go. First 5 I've got. The rest of them, I guess, they kind of blend. And there's a lot.
Introduction of Castiel, season 4.
Yes, because he's the one that pulls Dean out. That's why Dean has the scar on his arm.
Well, it's on his chest or back. It's a handprint.
Yeah, I thought it was on his arm because
Is
he
it on
pulls
his
him
arm?
out. Yeah, he pulls him out.
I thought it would like grab him by the
It
titty.
grabs him by the arm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grabs him by the boob.
I thought
Come with me.
I mean, apparently Castiel is in love with Dean.
That's
is
true.
that whole theory? So
It's not a theory.
It's on his
What's
copy.
face has
what?
confirmed it.
Well, yeah, that's true in the last season.
Yeah.
But it was like a last season confirmation.
Well, I think they were building it up. Even the actor had said, the actor himself. Had
I
said,
want to
yeah,
bang
yeah.
Jensen Ackles. Is that what he said? Yeah.
But no.
Forget Castiel.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't need it written in a screenplay.
Yeah.
With this show being 15 seasons and it ending in 2020, it's now 2022.
What?
We're going to get the...
Where?
We're going to get the prequel, the Winchesters. Before we talk about the Winchesters, let's talk about the fact that there were other spin-off shows that were talked about for this. Now, there was Ghostfacers, which was a miniseries on YouTube,
series.
right? Or web series, yeah. That they did talk about turning into a full-fledged show.
Well, that was just a stupid idea if it was really talked about.
That
It
sounds
was.
terrible because
Yeah.
It's a web series, and it's a funny web series.
Yep.
And that's all it should ever be.
I'm pretty sure it was before it was a web series. They had planned on doing a series and
Dumb.
then morphed it into a web series.
Well, good, because the first idea was dumb.
They also had the idea of in season, is it 3 or 2? They talk about the cult.
I think
Season
11.
2. Season 2, they talk about the cult for
Yeah.
the first time, the gun, and so
The
eventually
cult.
Cult.
I thought you
said
the
cult.
Yeah, me
Oh
too.
no, cult.
I was
Like,
I
which
don't know
cult?
what
They killed like
is.
50 cults.
There are a lot of cults. No, the cult, the gun. They were
It
gonna
still
do.
sounds like you
I don't know what to
say
tell
cult.
you guys.
Colt.
Yeah, I said that. Colt. Colt. C-O-L-T.
45.
I'm just...
Colt 45.
45.
Anyway, they were going to do a prequel show about him, Samuel, from way back when.
Samuel Colt, right?
Yes.
Samuel's cult.
They do that that episode of time travel where Dean goes back in time and actually finds the cult again.
That could have been cool. I'll give that one a could have been.
But it didn't
So that's
go
like
anywhere.
Yellowstone in 1885, right?
Except
Like,
more supernatural-ish, but yes.
that'd have been so a supernatural western. I can get behind.
That's what it was supposed to be.
I can get behind that.
I would have been all for it.
Yeah.
Nope, didn't have it.
Well, we're bidding it right now. If you want to do a spin-off of Supernatural,
We'd
a
watch it.
supernatural western, just called Cult.
Let's start a go.
Oh, I want money if they do it.
GoFundMe page right now. Target goal $5,000. It will be poorly made.
After the cult episode or spin-off that was supposed to be, they did the anime series, which was only one season, which was almost a shot-for-shot remake of the first actual season.
That sucked.
Never seen it.
It's bad. I mean, you like anime more than I do. Maybe you'll like it, but I still think it was just
Well, if it's
generally
shot for
bad.
shot of season 1, then I definitely
Almost
don't
a
need
shot
to
for
see
shot.
it.
Like certain episodes are shot for shot, and then other ones where they tried to do new stuff.
It's actually a card game, and they.
Is it the
I played this
actors-
vampire. in
It is not
defense
to
mode.
say they don't reprise their voices.
Oh, okay. That definitely
No,
watch
it's
it.
yeah.
Then
And I
they
think
had,
it originally. I actually don't even know if there's a dubbed version, but it's in Japanese, so it's subbed, and then maybe there's a dubbed version you can watch. But I tried to watch the sub version, and it sucked.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like to read.
So
You literally just said in the last podcast you watched Miss Marvel while reading subtitles. I was just at your house and you randomly have subtitles on.
he said he's listening to it on mute. First of all, if you remember correctly,
I was listening to the captions.
he was listening.
if
to
you
it
can
on
hear the
mute.
captions, you've got problems.
Some shows like The Office, I could watch with captions and know every.
Dude, you
tone
don't even
of
have to
every-
watch with captions.
Yeah,
for The
that's true. I
Office.
could just watch
Yeah.
it.
on full on mute.
Yeah, and then know what's going on.
So the other spin-off series they were going to try to do was called Bloodlines, and this was
skip Wayward Sisters.
No, that's after.
Oh, okay.
This is in 2013, so way before 4 years before Wayward Sisters.
Okay.
Yes, they did something in the let's see here the backdoor pilot. That's just what it's called, you people. Come on now.
The backdoor cult.
They were trying to set up a show called Supernatural Bloodlines, where in Chicago there's like a werewolf faction and a vampire faction that are kind of battling against each other, but as corporations.
It sounds like Underworld.
It is.
It's a bit like it, but it's supposed to be like more serious, less.
It was gonna follow a
sci-fi?
vampire named Celine, right? And just kidding.
No,
it's Underworld.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's called Underworld Bloodlines, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it an actual movie
called Underworld Bloodlines?
So it's not good, and it like the episode was bad, and then they immediately went away from trying to do that. But that was another.
I was gonna say a lot of
spin-off
times. I
series.
understand what you're saying that they thought about doing spin-offs, but none of them got past the episode that they had. So it was basically a pilot run. Do people like this episode? No, but it's not like they shot further episodes or even really probably had scripts developed.
So they had the backdoor pilot, which a lot of shows started doing because it saved them money to just include it in the season.
Yeah.
Rather than filming one. And then they had written up the script for so many episodes. And then that's what they submitted to be like, hey, let's do this. And then that got canceled.
Yeah.
Or not picked up, I should say.
The only one I heard of that I thought actually had a shot was Wayward Sisters.
I wanted Wayward Sisters. They had so many characters I liked. You had Castiel's daughter. Or not his daughter, his host's daughter.
Who, I don't know what her name is, but I feel like I've seen her in a bunch of stuff.
I think is she the new one that's supposed to be in Ant-Man as his daughter now?
Probably,
Yeah, I think it's her. I thought it was great. You were going to have the cop from season early on, within the first 3 seasons, who keeps reoccurring over and over as being the mom, and then she has her own daughter, and then brings on that one.
Her name? Julie?
Judy sounded more right than Julie.
I think it's Judy. Trudy.
No, I don't think it's Trudy.
Rudy.
You just gotta keep rhyming, hoping you're right. Yeah, that one was great. They had like 3 backdoor pilots for that one because they kept bringing in all those characters over and over again, and it looked like it picked up a lot of steam and was gonna go forward, and then just said, nope, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think CW probably said we're gonna lose out on the female fan base that was just obsessed with Jensen and Jared.
Yeah, but wouldn't you get potentially male fan base that wanted to keep seeing these girl characters?
I mean, one of them was like 15, right? So
no, I think she was 18 by that point. They were talking about college.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna get a new set of.
I know, yeah.
But if you think about if they would have had Supernatural first, and then that leads into Supernatural Wayward Sisters. I think you'd have a lot of the same people watching.
I will say, I would have watched it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I would have been as excited for it as I was Supernatural.
I don't know. It just sounded like it had so much potential.
Part of the reason
it's relatable. You're going around fighting monsters.
No. But part of the reason, Spider-Man. But part of the reason Spider-Man was so popular is because you can relate to Spider-Man. He's a normal teenager going through normal issues. He's not super fantastic in all these ways. I mean, he is, but you had people like Captain America, who was basically just, I'm perfect, right? Then you have
when you get steroids,
yeah, but then you have Spider-Man.
I guess that's why I relate more to Captain America.
Because of steroids?
Yeah.
Or because you're perfect?
Perfect, yeah.
It's the steroids. But no, Spider-Man, even when he became Spider-Man and had powers, he was still relatable because he still struggled with MJ and stuff like that. You could relate to him as a teenager.
You don't think that these girls were struggling? Or going to struggle?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
he can't relate to them because they're girls.
Really?
Well, no, what I'm saying is when you picture, okay, who's your favorite superhero?
Captain Marvel.
Bullshit. That's my point, though. But this girl who's playing Miss Marvel, her favorite superhero was actually Miss Marvel.
Sure.
She was obsessed with her.
Yeah.
So she was perfect for that role because of that. I feel like you relate to characters that you could picture yourself being.
But I've watched shows where just female leads and been fine with it.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you can't picture yourself in the role because
I don't need to picture myself in the role to enjoy a TV show.
It makes it more exciting when you can be like, man, that'd be so cool.
I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So Corey actually, every time he stops watching Supernatural, he goes out there and for 10 to 15 minutes after, he's out there like
with
staking.
salt.
You know,
there's a
steak.
lot of dead people who had messed up teeth that I might have thought of him.
He opens up the door, he's like, Sammy, get in here!
That's why his house is a mess. There's salt everywhere. They're like, oh, the kid spilled it. Yeah, I'm sure, Corey, I'm sure.
No,
Keeps
but I don't know.
it.
I think Supernatural had like the brotherly aspect. Like, I have a brother. Like, it just...
So everybody that doesn't have a brother, they're shit out
No,
of luck.
but you could
Yeah,
relate.
what the hell,
you
man?
could relate to the brothers like giving each other crap and stuff. Is what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
But okay, I agree with
I
you
cannot
because you
relate to that.
started with this. But you started with Supernatural. You had at this point it's like 12 seasons in.
Yeah. I didn't say I wouldn't watch it. I just said I wouldn't have been as excited as I would be for another season of Supernatural.
At this point, by season 12, I would have been fine with another show that hopefully
tells you
gives
how little excitement I had for Wayward Sisters.
But no, like, again, if it was a brand new show and there was no Supernatural, I might agree with you. I don't maybe necessarily would like it as much, but because they introduce all these characters in a show I like, and it had an interesting premise, I'd be all for it.
What was the premise? They're just going to hunt themselves, doing the same stuff
So
Sam and Dean do, but not to that level?
A little bit, and it was
So
also
that's
going to
not
be
that
dealing
exciting.
with the family dynamic, and they were building a cast.
Bloodlines sounded more exciting
God,
to me.
no.
No, but just listen, because it was different.
But it was
It's not just another group of hunters doing the
Right.
same thing Sam
Except-
and Dean
but
do.
Is that not
two
what we're going to get
females
with the
instead.
Winchesters?
What's that?
What did you say, Mike?
Like he said, it's like it's not that interesting because it's not the same story, but just take out the brothers and insert two females.
Right.
3.
It doesn't matter. The point is you're
Several
doing the
wayward
same stuff,
sisters.
but they're going to be hunting lesser things than you would see if you watch Supernatural.
Yeah, but that might be okay. Like, they were hunting lesser things in the first few seasons.
I understand, but we've built up past that. I don't want to go back and watch them hunt a Wendigo. I've already seen the Wendigo. It's not exciting to see it again.
I'd go see the Wendigo again.
Well, I disagree.
Is that something to go camping in?
The
Winnebago? Yeah. But the... yeah, so I don't know. Just because it was different, I think would have been nice.
So
but...
this next one that's actually happening has been picked up, debuts in September or October. The Winchesters. You're kind of going to be getting that. They're going to be fighting.
So the
these
difference
demons.
is it's the same thing with Star Trek. Star Trek Enterprise does not get a lot of popularity. It's one of the least popular Star Trek series. I liked it because you get to see the first time they meet like the Klingons and the first time they meet all these races that you've been established.
And their starship is crap.
Right. So
Like you see it like very raw.
It's got literally a hull that like doesn't have a shield.
Right,
It's just
plate-
really thick.
plate armor,
So hopefully,
yeah.
So same thing with Winchesters. Supernatural. They're referencing John's book for all the information. I'm excited to see. This is the first time we come across a Wendigo. John has to figure out what the heck to do about it.
That's not what this show is. This is when they're both alive. Both parents are
I get it.
alive. John doesn't start keeping a book because John doesn't know there are demons until after his wife dies.
But I'm saying he learns things as it's happening.
No, he learns nothing until way later. So honestly, this series,
I know. I agree
that's what he says.
I agree with you from the Supernatural series, but something's got to be different because they're hunting in this series. There's no way it's just about hey,
she's hunting in this series, and she's probably trying to keep it a
And
secret
John's
from him.
cooking food at home.
Probably being the stay-at-home dad that he is.
There's no way.
No, I think it's going to be her hunting potentially with her family, meeting John, and then going through that thing, which they kind of did during some of the
I am
time
less
travel.
excited about it now.
I know, right? You're not going to see. I want to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan de-aged hunting things
So Ackles is apparently reprising his role as Dean
for
Winchester
one episode.
as the narrator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting. I didn't know they were even going to have a narrator, so that's interesting. Maybe he's telling a story
Could be.
to somebody, and that's how you're going.
Maybe he's
In
telling
heaven?
a real story.
Yeah, he would be in heaven because he's dead. Like he's not
Yeah.
like he's telling his grandkids or his kids or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
'cause
have made
he's
more
dead.
sense if Jared was telling a story to his kids.
What if he's
Yeah.
writing his own book?
and wearing an awful wig? So bad.
But it reminded me of the Harry Potter scene at the very end of the last movie where they all aged everybody and they look horrible.
It's still better than that.
What's better than that?
The Harry Potter is better than the Supernatural scene.
See, I disagree because Harry Potter had more money. So much more money than Supernatural.
I'm not talking about if it was justified by how much money. I'm saying it just looked worse.
It should. It's a TV show.
Fine, but it was bad.
I know Mike just said he was a little bit now disinterested in it, but is it a show that you'll watch? Maybe not weekly, because I think, especially in 2022 that we're in, not many shows we're going to go, especially if they're on cable TV, that we're going to watch weekly. Like if it's something that comes out on Netflix weekly, Hulu weekly, Amazon weekly, Disney weekly, we'll watch it weekly. But if it's something that's on cable, we usually are going to wait until the whole season comes out and then potentially
I feel like what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the season to come out, let you guys watch it, and you tell me whether it's good or not.
No, what's going to happen is we're going to say, Mike, we're doing a podcast on this, and you're going to be like, shit. All right, I guess I got to binge watch an entire season by next week.
Yeah. So that's probably where I'll get with that. However, if they made Sans Cult a Western, I'm telling you, I'd be all about that. I love Westerns.
Well, and a supernatural Western that already has this
and
lore.
cults.
Yeah. Where he finds the demons, he's like, how the hell am I going to get rid of these things? I'm building a weapon.
And
I'm going to convert them to my religion and then become their cult leader. That's what he does.
Well, he actually infuses all the souls of his cult followers into the gun, is what we find out. He melts them down into silver.
This all sounds like a fantastic show.
I know, that's what I'm
saying.
Why are we not with the CW right now pitching them this show?
Our next podcast is going to be a video podcast, pilot episode of Sam's Cult.
Oh, it's so funny. What about you, Corey? It's going to be something that you try to watch weekly by downloading it, or are you looking at...
That's illegal, but I'll watch it off the... Yeah, actually, I don't know how I'm going to watch it. Maybe it'll be on Hulu? I doubt it.
I don't think Hulu has a CW
Oh, I can watch it on CW app. Yeah, that's true.
You just sometimes have ads.
Yeah, well, it has ads, but whatever.
But is that something is your thought to watch weekly?
At first, and then if it sucks, wait
yeah.
till I can binge it, and then binge it while I'm like not really paying attention.
That does sound like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I'll probably watch definitely the premiere when it on the CW and see how it is, and let me know whether I should still be somewhat excited for it, or if I should be like, oh god, this was not worth the wait. Not that there was much of a wait, just of maybe they should have prolonged it. Because I'm also wondering, they went 15 years, and now it's 2 years removed. Is that enough time to really get people excited about a prequel or a sequel or anything?
I think it's going to be a one and done.
You think one season it's over?
Oh, yeah.
Think they'll make it the full season?
I doubt they're going to cancel it in the middle of the season.
They do a lot of shows canceling, but you're saying because it's a supernatural show?
I don't think it will be one and done, especially if
I feel like it's
Jensen Ackles is narrating it.
Well, it's going to be like a story. It's just going to be like the story. This is the story. At the end of the season, it's over.
Well, so no, I think when it ends, it'll probably end with her dying, his mom.
The first
Have
season?
either one of you seen
No.
Agent
When
Carter?
it ends.
Oh.
Either one of you seen Agent Carter?
I got like 3
I feel like
episodes
it's going to
in.
be the same thing.
Well, that was supposed to go more.
Okay.
It just didn't because people weren't watching it.
Right.
Oh,
Because
okay,
they
but
couldn't
that's what you're
relate.
saying. Yeah. Because what?
Because they couldn't relate.
Hey, fun
to
fact,
Agent Carter.
same thing.
Shut up.
I mean, you could say what you want, but the fact
That's
is...
not why.
Well, I'm just saying the fact is when you have a superhero sci-fi show, more often than not, if it's female-led, it won't last as long.
That just sounds ridiculously sexist. And I could...
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying it's
Buffy?
It's what happens.
Right.
Buffy.
I'm saying more often than not. I didn't say every time. But, like, it just seems to be the case. Like, for some reason, superheroes... Think about it. Black Widow, you could say what you want about the movie, but people did not like it a lot.
Part of that was the fact that it's a bad movie.
People have a problem with Captain Marvel for some reason, even though...
I didn't like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, see, I don't necessarily have a problem with that movie at all. I just not as interested in her as Captain America or Spider-Man or Iron Man.
It's such a weird take because it's not a man on the screen and I'm a man. I can't relate to what they're going through.
I don't know if it's that.
So fucking
I don't
weird.
know how else to... What else it
You're
could
sexist?
be, though. No,
I mean we just talked
then
about
why
it in a
don't
few
you
different
like-
episodes.
Why don't you like Captain Marvel more?
What do you mean? I have no problem with Captain Marvel.
But she's not your favorite. I'm not saying
Of course she's not my favorite.
I don't like her. I like her fine,
I like
but
certain powers
How
better
about
than
this?
others.
Did either one of you like not the newest, but the second newest Ghostbusters? The all-female cast Ghostbusters.
no, that was
But that was just a
awful.
bad movie, though.
Why?
It wasn't funny where they tried to be funny.
Right.
It wasn't a sequel. It was a reboot that they should have just done a sequel. Like
Fun
they
fact, a
eventually
lot of
did.
people liked it.
No, they didn't actually.
I know a lot of people that liked it.
Sure, you might personally know, but audience reaction to it is very down. The movie bombed at the box office, and they also tried to do over-the-top humor to try to justify it, and I don't understand why. Like, you didn't need to do that. They felt like they did a lot of stuff in that movie just because.
And for the record, I'm not saying like I don't like Captain Marvel or anything. I did like Captain Marvel, the movie. Apparently, I liked it more than both of you, it sounds like. But I'm just saying she's never going to be my favorite character. And I don't know if it's because she's a woman or not. I just know that I always felt like Spider-Man is somebody I could relate to more as a character.
How much did you know about Captain Marvel when you were growing up compared to Spider-Man, though?
Well, true,
Not
but
much, but Wonder Woman I knew.
Fair.
Yeah. And I would never say Wonder Woman's in my even top 20 of favorite heroes.
I would if you're talking about DC, but I'd probably even say in the top.
Well, I know
10.
more characters than you, so that's the other thing.
Yeah, but still.
I mean,
She's not in your top 20 DC characters?
No.
Then you're wrong.
well, she's not in my top 20 favorite DC characters.
Yeah, you're wrong.
There's a lot of characters you don't know about that are really great.
They're not, though.
let's hear him right here. Go
Yeah,
top 20.
let's go. Let's go
Number
top
one.
20.
Number
He's
one,
Superman.
Flash is my favorite.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
I
yeah,
knew Flash.
Batman, then Superman, then Green Lantern, but Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, then Green Lantern, wow, I'm blanking on his name.
Because you don't know the characters.
No, the Green Lantern from Justice League, the TV show.
It's great.
John Roberts? No, it's not Roberts. That's the
Okay,
the
either way,
Justice-
another
Ryan
Green
Reynolds.
Lantern. Number
Yeah,
6.
another Green Lantern.
I feel like he's trying to remember the
Hawk.
poster.
No, I wouldn't even say the Hawk. Probably.
Wonder Woman?
I don't know, because you're asking me in
How
order.
about, how about Batman, like Batman Beyond Batman? Terry McKinnis?
I would actually say Nightwing was probably my next favorite.
Nightwing, yeah.
And then it's like, can I say villains? Because Joker.
Well, Joker
we
should
said-
be
we
higher
said
than if you could say
heroes.
villains, but we did say heroes.
Okay, so just heroes. So yeah, that's fine. So we'll go Nightwing.
Because I was going to say...
Martian Manhunter.
Hela makes a really good female villain.
Martian Manhunter, though, would be next on my list, probably.
Like the one from Supergirl?
No. Well, I mean, he's in
He's also in
Supergirl,
Justice
but that's
League,
not why. He's
Snyder
not,
Cut.
Yeah, he's in Justice League, but I'm talking Martian Manhunter before he's been butchered and all these things.
In Supergirl, right?
Yeah, he's in Supergirl, yes. But
Ugh.
that's not where he's great. Steel. But like the Steel from the comics, not from the horrible
You're up to 7.
Shaq movie.
No, we're at 8.
Are we at 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I keep going.
We're waiting.
You got
Wally
20
West
to go.
Flash would be my next one. I'm trying to do them in order of like who I actually like the most too. And then I would probably go for Beast Boy, I would say, just because from when I
You
was
like
a kid.
Beast Boy more than Captain or
More than Wonder Woman.
More than Wonder Woman?
Yeah. That's what you're saying. You're saying she's not in your top 20 and you're naming all these other people.
I think it's more that like I can, well,
You can relate because I'm a guy.
maybe she makes my top 10 then, but she's
There you
definitely
go.
not. But considering she's supposed to be the holy trinity of the DC universe, she's definitely not my top 3.
Well, she's the token woman in the Justice
now
League.
who's sexist?
It's not sexist. That's literally, they included her
didn't
there
even
for that
say
reason.
Cyborg in any of those.
I don't like Cyborg.
What?
He's lame. You
Now
just
you're-
like him
now
because you
you're
watched
being
Teen
racist.
Titans as a kid
You're being sexist and
against
racist.
cyborgs.
All right, moving away from DC and Corey's sexist and racism, back to Supernatural.
I don't
and
feel like
You
that's
are
a fair
Sean Connery,
transition.
aren't you?
Yeah. You tell me with a straight face that any female Marvel character is in your top 5. There's
female
plenty of them.
Marvel top
I
5.
like Scarlet Witch a lot.
I'd say there's at
She's
least
in your
one
top 5?
in my top 10.
Oh, okay.
I'd
I don't
say
even
top
know if
10.
I believe that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'd
I-
say top 10.
Okay. I like Scarlet Witch.
And
will
I
say
actually,
that, yeah.
Scarlet Witch, Wanda is in my top 10.
Like
Not
shows?
Black Widow. No,
The
I mean
show?
her as her character,
Wait, what?
but Scarlet Witch.
Oh,
Right.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I thought you. Never mind. I thought you were talking about Scarlett Johansson. For a
I
second.
mean,
I was like,
she's in
she
the
is
top
in-
2.
she-
I
in
thought
my
you said
top
not as her
10.
character, but Scarlet, and I was like, the actress. I was like, she's in your top 10. Top 10.
It's not
what?
even her.
Yeah. I was like, what are you
I don't really like her as a superhero, but she aight.
No, I was like, what are you talking about?
No. So yeah, I would say Scarlet Witch is in my top 10.
See, it's hard in MCU. Yeah, sure, but like I'm talking like from when I was a kid growing up.
When you were a
reading this
kid
stuff.
growing up, they didn't have those many TV shows that had women.
I know. I'm talking about
'Cause
comics.
they were-
Scarlet Witch is lame in the comics. Honestly, I'm just gonna say that.
That's true.
But she's awesome in the MCU.
She's fantastic.
I really liked
Although she
Mary
wasn't. The
Jane
first
in
first
Super,
introduction-
Spider-Man
Yeah, Mary Jane and Spider-Man was awesome.
from the original one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
she was.
Tiger.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ty.
she was
Was okay.
she-
Gwen Stacy was actually better
better than who?
than Mary Jane in the comics.
I don't know if I'd
and
go
plus,
that
you had the
far.
relationship with her father, Captain Tracy.
I think it gave you more stuff to go with, but there's
Yeah.
nothing that beats MJ. Like that's I didn't say
Peter
BJ,
Parker
MJ.
does.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That there's nothing. I mean, there might be one thing.
We should never film 2 podcasts back to back.
Yeah, too tired.
Well, we're just getting more bedroom than nerdy.
Yeah. All right. So we've kind of talked now about Supernatural. We've talked about the Winchesters. We've talked about the other.
Yeah, this is a supernatural podcast.
Yes, it is.
Holy smokes.
We went down.
We always go to Marvel and DC.
It's what we like. But I don't know what you want. And not to mention, there's so much of that content out there, and there's also all that content when we were growing up out there, and it's just gotten more and more and more. It's just in our
So
psyches.
Sam and Dean versus Mobius. Morbius.
What's Morbius?
Morbius.
Yeah, the vampire.
Michael
Yeah.
Morbius.
Who's gonna win that fight?
Who's Morbius? Is it Jared Leto?
Yes, it's
That's
Jared
fair
Leto.
because I feel like the Morbius from the Spider-Man show is not as aggressive.
I thought he was more aggressive. He
No.
he
Well,
like murders people.
he was different because
He
he
was
sucked
like-
the energy from
yes.
his hands.
Well, he pulled the plasma through his
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, that's
plasma.
what I mean. But he didn't bite people.
Right, but he also has like that girl that always like keeps him like at bay.
Yes.
Black Cat. What's her name?
It wasn't Black Cat.
Felicia Hardy.
Yeah, Felicia.
was
Hardy.
it Felicia?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that it was
Felicia.
Felicia.
As he's flying through the
Oh,
air.
yeah.
I didn't remember that it was
All the time.
Felicia.
Felicia.
But yeah, I thought he was
Yeah,
great in that show.
Don't you remember the Secret Wars where Black Cat gets summoned by Spider-Man?
Yeah.
So she was helping Blade and Morbius when she got taken away.
See, I don't remember the helping Blade and Morbius thing.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that was her. But okay.
Yeah, and Blade's like, we'll find her later. We got a mission to get kill all these vampires. It's just...
Epic.
All right. Anyway, Supernatural.
I asked the question, who would
I-
win that fight?
I didn't know you were actually being serious.
I am.
Oh. Well, again, it kind of depends on who's Morbius. If it's Jared Leto,
Jared
Jared Leto
Leto.
loses.
Why? Just because you want him to die?
Well, it also was a terrible. The
Because
best part about
every
those-
time
that
he
movie-
goes somewhere, he just leaves that like flash of purple everywhere.
know
so
where
they
he
just
is.
Yeah,
follow
but,
him.
follow it.
but Morbius in the movie is more powerful than Morbius from the show was.
Yeah, but he was powerful. But he was trying to be a anti-hero.
he can like summon bats to attack for him. He can like,
They didn't really attack, aren't they? A distraction.
I don't know, but I feel like,
Like
Sam
Batman
and Dean
for-
would not like that. What are Sam and Dean gonna do when they get swarmed by all those bats?
Put down
Shoot
some salt.
rock salt at him.
Yeah,
That will kill like maybe 5.
they have a lot of shells. They got
Yeah,
this,
no, I think Sam and Dean lose, unfortunately.
dude. Well, it depends. Is God writing the story?
That's true.
If
No.
God's writing the story, they win.
This is post God.
Well, one of them's already dead.
This is before that. So I guess they win by default.
there you go. All right. So I guess let's wrap up Supernatural where we're at. Probably, if it would have ended after 5 seasons, I think it probably would have been in my top 5, definitely top 10 favorite shows of all time, just because of how great and condensed and perfect the story would have been.
And how much you could relate to the male
Oh,
character.
Jesus. And then if we look at now it's 15 seasons, it's probably back. It's probably in my top 50 absolutely, just because there's so much content to watch.
And the pilot was a little rough. I went back and rewatched it one time, and there's a couple like lines that are super cheesy. Like Sam goes, "Dean, Dad raised us like warriors," and I was like, "Oh God."
Is it because of his inflection or the line?
He
kind of
didn't like the
acting
fact that
in
you
the
could
line.
see his face because his hair wasn't like 9 miles long.
Is that what it was? I figured it was because he was looking at him and going, "I can never
Like,
have
by-
hair like
by
that.
the
I can't
end-
relate."
From Supernatural 1 to Supernatural 15, like Sam's hair just goes straight Gandalf. He goes from like his hair, you could watch it just slowly grow and grow and grow through the whole.
Me being me, I didn't pay much attention to his hair.
I'm telling you, his hair is short. in the
Kidder
first
was paying
episode.
attention to other things.
Damn right I was.
Yeah.
The demons.
Didn't I get you a pillowcase for
You did.
Yeah.
I gave it away. But yeah.
Aw.
Well, you know I did. I gave it to Sam, who's a huge fan of this,
Yeah,
of that
that's
show.
right. I got him a pillowcase where they're. Oh,
Yeah.
you saw it?
I saw
Yeah, you saw
For
it.
the listeners, it was just them posing, like shirtless or something?
No, they're basically naked except for the Supernatural logo over their thing, but it's not them. It's just their
You
face
must remember it better than
superimposed.
I do.
I gave it to Sam. She loved it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
doubt she has it like at her house now, or at least out for display because she's got 2 kiddos. But
You know, when we post this podcast, you should share a picture of the cult you have downstairs, too.
the cult or the cult?
The cult.
Don't you have the knife too?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have the knife. I have the small
I got
replica
you the knife,
card.
right? And
You
Dylan
did,
got
and
you the
Dylan
cult.
got me the actual cult of the cult.
You just can't say
It's got the 16 bullets that are all numbered
Yeah.
on there too, or 12, or
pretty
however
cool.
many it is. So we've kind of already did our wrap up of the Supernatural. Do you guys have anything else to add? Don't you dare, Corey.
It was very good.
I hate you so much. What about you, Mike? Any closing thoughts?
I mean, it's a good series. It's just really, really long.
It is.
And like you said a million times, they could have easily wrapped it up much sooner and it be a well-rounded show. I'm not saying like I don't hate all the seasons. Like they're fun to watch. They're entertaining. It's just really long.
All right. Well, so because Corey is horrible at these, I'm just gonna ignore what he said and hopefully not go back to him again because he's just going. It was good.
It was very good. How about that?
Decent.
At times, I would even say
it was okay.
At times, it was even extremely good. Sometimes the goodness, went up and down.
Yeah. Anytime a girl was on screen, I understand.
Ooh,
No.
Goodness, low goodness.
Low goodness.
It actually had some of the better female secondary characters that I've seen in a lot of shows.
Yeah,
Like
Charlie was fantastic.
yeah, Charlie, Ruby, Rowena.
Rowena,
Rowena was really good. It's just
Joe and Ellie,
Yeah.
or Elle, or
Yeah.
Ellen, whatever their names were, that were running the bar.
The mother.
The mother was okay. I didn't really love her in the last few seasons.
yeah, I didn't really care for her either, actually. But
It just felt like they added her in. It was like, whatever. What else are you going to do after 13 seasons? Well, we're going to add the mom back in. Okay.
that's one of the reasons I definitely would have watched Wayward Sisters. Is the female characters they had were very good. I just wasn't excited because it seemed like it was going to be
The same
the same
thing, but
stuff, just
less.
not as exciting stuff because
Yeah.
we've already seen it all.
But for me, I was excited because they already did introduce these characters, and I was excited to see where their story was going, because I was always excited to see them when they came back on screen again in Supernatural with the boys,
Yeah.
because they were always doing something. They were on a hunt. Something else was going on.
I think they should just had more episodes where they come back.
Sure.
That would have been fine.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that. All right, so wrapping this one up, our next podcast is going to be about Game of Thrones, and we had, how many seasons was that? 7?
8.
7. And then we are going to also preview a little bit House of Dragon, which actually starts pretty soon. So we'll see you next week.